Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Intelligent Ultrasound Group PLC investor presentation. Throughout this recorded presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged. They can be submitted at any time via the Q&A tab that's just situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Please just simply type in your questions and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it receives during the meeting itself. However, the company will review all questions submitted today and publish responses where it is appropriate to do so, and these will be available via your Investor Meet company dashboard. Before we begin, if I may, I would like to submit the following poll, and if you could give that your kind attention, I'm sure the company would be most grateful. And I'd now like to hand you over to CEO Stuart Gall. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Intelligent Ultrasound's 2022 annual results. So little disclaimer page first, but for those of you that don't know us, we are an ultrasound company. Our purpose is to make ultrasound, which is the world's fastest, safest and cheapest imaging modality, easier to learn and simpler to use, so that ultimately we can enable ultrasound for everyone. And the way we're trying to do that, a strategy to actually achieve that, is we are building and selling a range of ultra-realistic simulators to teach doctors. We follow those doctors into the scanning room to give them AI-driven tools that enable them to scan patients faster and better, and then ultimately to be at the forefront of using AI to enable ultrasound scanning in primary care and ultimately at home to enable everyone to access ultrasound. So a summary of 2022. I think, to be fair, we have hit all the financial expectations and operational milestones that we set out to achieve in 2022. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see revenue was up 33% to 10 million. AI revenue, importantly, starting to gain commercial traction, up over 200%. We reduced our losses, and also we raised 5 million at the end of last year to ensure we have cash of 7.2 million at year end to take us to profitability in 2024. And the reason that's all important is that AI and ultrasound is expected to be a $1.3 billion market by 2028. And to be a player in that marketplace, you need to have products now. And that's exactly what we did last year. We were first mover in this space. We had three sort of main achievements. We launched Sonalist on GE Healthcare's Voluson Expert 2022 in the summer of 22. We launched ScanNav Anatomy PNB and received FDA clearance for sale in the US in Q4 22. And then finally, Needle Trainer, our third AI-related product, was launched with the GE vScan Air in Q3 22. So three really important operative objectives that we had to achieve. And when you combine that with our leading ultrasound simulation business, we think the vision of achieving 25 million sales by 2025, based on our unique classroom to clinic approach, is achievable. So how are we going to do that, and what space are we in to achieve that? Well, imaging background. I think if you don't know about this, there are a number of key modalities in this space: X-ray, MRI, CT, etc. But ultrasound is the fastest, cheapest and safest imaging modality. Its diagnostic capability is recognized in many areas, but it's very much dependent on the skill of the operator. It's a dynamic, real-time modality, and our vision is to make it easier to learn and simple to use, and minimizing these obstacles. And we do that using our classroom to clinic approach. We think that's a unique approach to the marketplace. We have a large range of products in this space. Anyone that knows us from 2014 will know that actually when we listed on AIM, we actually started with one product, Scan Trainer, the top product in the middle there. But now we have a range of 4 simulators, a hybrid AI simulator device, and then 2 fully regulatory approved AI software devices that enable us to basically sell products in this classroom to clinic space. So a little bit more detail on the 2 sides of the business. I'll start with classroom simulation. This is all about training through ultra-realistic simulation. It's the foundation stone of our business. We have 4 key products in this space. We sell into the hospital training rooms and the big simulation centers around the world. And as you can see from the blue boxes on each of the products, we have been continually developing these products throughout the year. Scan Trainer is an obstetrics ultrasound trainer. We're launching an endometriosis module in 2023. We have the HeartWorks product aimed at the cardiac market. A lot of e-learning products added to that last year. BodyWorks, which is aimed at point of care ultrasound scanning. We launched a new version of that product, 4.0, at the end of last year. And then finally, our new product, BabyWorks, which is aimed at the neonate and pediatric market, we launched a number of cardiac pathologies at the end of the year as well. And those 4 products have basically contributed to building a marketplace for us in the simulation market. If you look at it, we've grown by 22% since 2013. We're forecast to grow to just over 10 million in 2023 by Senkos. And importantly, we've sold over 1,500 systems into over 750 institutions around the world. Training, we reckon, roughly realistic, about 100,000 medical professionals over the last 5 years. So the reason we are confident that we think we can keep this growth going is not just the product range that we've got, but if you look at the size of the market, we think there's growth available in this space. So about 105 million pounds market in 2022. We think we've got about 9% market share currently. So clearly plenty of room for growth in that space. But also when you look at the number of hospitals by region, as well as the big university teaching schools all around the world, this is a market we believe that we can continue to grow and certainly hit our target of 12.5 million sales by 2025. So that's one half of the business. The other side of the business is the new area that we moved into in 2017, clinical AI software, a significant and growing market. About 1.3 billion pounds expected to be by 2028, so probably 10 times the size of the training market. And we have become a player in this space. This is a new market, but we've built a strong clinical AI capability here, built on the cutting edge expertise that came out of Oxford University, Professor Alison Noble, OBE, and Professor Aris Papageorgiou. We have built a big established team. We have a database of over 37 million curated images. We have over 20 FTEs in the AI specific space, developers, engineers, segmenters, etc. We've signed a partnership with GE Healthcare, which I'll talk more about, exclusively in the women's healthcare space. We've got 3 products launched with FDA and CE clearance for sale in the UK, EU, and USA. And importantly, we're now making sales. So we are starting the commercial journey of this product. And if you look at the graph on the left, you can see how after a relatively small start, we've now started to build our revenues in 2022, but most importantly, forecast a significant growth in our clinical AI revenues for 2023. Senkos number out there over 2 million sales. So a key year for us commercially. Why are we going to do that? Why do we sit here comfortably thinking, yeah, okay, we can make this number? Well, 3 things. So one is Sonalist. Sonalist is GE software that sits in their women's healthcare machines, the Voluson range of ultrasound machines. We have exclusive deal with GE where they have the first look right to all our AI software in the field of women's healthcare. Our first product is in the market called Sonalist X and Sonalist IR. For those of you that have experienced having a baby, you go for a scan at 20 weeks. It's an anomaly scan. It follows a strict protocol. You're basically looking to all the key parts of the anatomy to check everything's okay. So you're looking to capture 21 views of the baby, and each one of those views must meet a very strict criteria. Protocol comes from ISHWAG. So what the sonographer would normally do is look for the image, freeze the image, check it's okay, maybe annotate it, put measurements on it, and then save the image. What our software does on the GE machine is that when the sonographer finds the image and freezes it, our software instantly looks to check what that image is and then does it meet the protocol. So in this case, it's a 4-chamber view of the heart. It has 3 structures it needs to see. 4 chambers, are the valves visible, and then the ventricular septum, and then also is the image magnified correctly. If you've done all that, it gives you 4 ticks, okay, and you can move on to the next image. So it's all about basically standardizing the scan and supporting the sonographer as they're scanning, enabling them to see how many images they've taken, where are they in the process, and that they all meet the criteria. It's the world's first fully integrated AI tool to do this, and it's for mid-trimester 20-week scans. And importantly, in 2022, it was launched on the new Voluson Expert 22, GE's top machine in the marketplace. And we get paid a royalty every time a customer activates our software on that machine. So it's a one-off royalty payment that gets when the customer buys that software. If you go onto the GE website, you'll see some very interesting videos on there, but basically they're all about supporting why GE see this as being a key software, AI software tool for Volutron going forward. This particular video is by Dr. Lawrence Platt, one of the leading obstetricians in the US, and he's talking about standardization, but also talking about how it's important to reduce stress. You know, when you're scanning, you're under a lot of pressure. Any tool that's going to help augment those skills, make it easier for you to get the right image, seen as a real benefit in the marketplace, especially when you've got such high levels of burnout in the scanning rooms currently. So very important product for us going forward, and large potential market for this. So if you look at how many ultrasound machines have been sold around the year, 50,000 women's healthcare machines sold per annum. About 37,000 of those are sold into the obstetrics marketplace. GE is the world leader in this space, has about 51% market share. So clearly there's a large potential market for our software to be embedded on GE machines and paying us a royalty revenue when that option is activated. This very much forms part of our classroom to clinic principle. And as you can see it here, Scan Trainer, a tool to teach you how to do obstetrics ultrasound. And then if you've got a GE machine in the clinic, you use Sonalist to basically give you clinical AI software support live while you're scanning. So classroom to clinic vision embodied in obstetrics. So next product in the marketplace for us, second product is ScanNav Anatomy PNB. So this PNB stands for peripheral nerve block. This is all about basically local anesthesia. So if you have an operation on your hand or your arm, you can have a peripheral nerve block, so you can have the operation without having to go under general anesthetic. What our product does is simplifies the ultrasound guided needling that's required to deliver that anesthetic, gives the user real-time AI-based feedback and anatomy highlighting for a range of procedures. You can see the device on the right-hand side. You simply plug that into your ultrasound machine. It gives you a second screen, and the second screen overlays with color or anatomy highlighting. So in the image in the middle, you can see an interscalene region or block, and you can see yellow are the nerves, red is the is the artery, and you've got to get the needle in the position to be able to inject the anesthetic onto the nerve, which is highlighted in yellow. Now, why is this product important? Well, feedback from the market was that roughly 20% of anesthetists do about 80% of blocks, and the reason most of the anesthetists don't do ultrasound guided peripheral nerve blocks is actually a confidence with the ultrasound. So competent but less confident. And so the market said, if you can give us a tool that will make us more confident, we believe we'll do more blocks. And that's what we've done. So this product is basically received FDA approval in October for sale in the US on the back, as well as CE marking. So we now have a product with three aims. One, we want to enable trainee anesthetists to learn with confidence and improve their training. Two, help more qualified anesthetists to conduct PNBs, make the competent but not confident, and basically improve patient care. And then finally, importantly, help increase the number of peripheral nerve blocks that could be done per hospital, because that'll help reduce hospital costs. And if you can meet those three aims, you'll have a product that we think can sell in the marketplace. We're currently focused on delivering all the supportive papers and studies that will validate those claims, but it's a big potential market. There's over nearly 11,000 anesthesiology ultrasound machines sold per annum. If you just look at the aftermarket for those, so in the US, the UK, and Western Europe, where we have regulatory approval, that's about 35,000 machines that we think we can plug our device into. And if you then multiply that by the cost of our machine, £15,000, there's about a £500 million marketplace for this product in anesthesiology. If you just look at it from the perspective of number of sites that could take this product, there's about 6,000 hospitals in the US, there's 8,500 ambulatory care centers. And with the product at the moment focused on Sonosite and GE healthcare machines, they've got about 57% of the market, and we'll look to expand that into more machines as we go forward. So a large potential market for this product. And I think importantly, other areas that it can move into, or that you could put the software embedded into. So emergency medicine, critical care, radiology. Well, there's about another 30,000 machines per annum that could utilize some form of anatomy highlighting software. So we think there's a large potential market for this. And again, this product fits well with our classroom to clinic approach, because we sell this product in combination with a product called Needle Trainer. It's an AI hybrid product. It's a first of its kind. It uses a retractable needle, virtual image overlays to simulate needling on a live patient, a live volunteer, but importantly on a live ultrasound. So you can, a trainee can develop hand-eye coordination, the optimum positioning of the needle, accuracy and ultrasound guided interventional procedures, but do it in a realistic clinical environment with minimal risk. And you can see the picture on the left showing you how you're actually using the GE Scan Air product, using our retractable needle. You then push the needle into the patient, and on the ultrasound screen, you see a needle entering the patient, even though obviously the needle doesn't puncture the skin. So a really important training tool for learning how to do needling. And again, this fits, as I said, classroom to clinic. You use needle trainer to teach, and then use anatomy PNB in the clinic to make yourself more confident and do more peripheral nerve blocks. So those products combined, we think are going to enable us to hit this target of growing our business to 25 million by 2025. Now, how are we selling? So route to market, we have 3 routes to market. First one, direct sales force that we sell, our own sales force, 3 people in the UK in Cardiff, 7 people based out of Alpharetta in America. They sell both areas. They sell our simulation products, classroom, and sell our clinical AI software. We also have a reseller network in the Europe. That's 11 resellers who sell simulation, and some of them sell our clinical AI. And then in the rest of the world, we have 12 resellers who just sell our simulators. That combined reaches us into about 33 countries. So a really solid operational base to build this business from, supported by 3 staff in product management, 3 in marketing, 6 in build and tech support. And then obviously overlaid onto that, we have the OEM deal with GE Healthcare, who are generating us royalty-based license revenue on an annual basis. And combined, I think that's a really solid operational base that we can grow our business from. I've talked about the 25 to 25 vision, but this is it on the screen in terms of we're building an established, on an established market. So our simulator market, obviously the foundation of the business, looking to grow that to 12.5 million, but also our new market, the clinical AI software, which we're trying over the next 3 years to match the simulation business, be 12.5 million revenue by 2025. And importantly, as a business, profitable by the end of 2024. That is 100% of our focus at the moment, but we're still obviously always looking to the future. What about the 25 to 30 plan? Well, that's about how can you take our products and exploit more future markets. One clear market is in the clinical AI space to look at diagnostic tools. We are in a sort of early stage proof of concept for them. But then secondly, you know, as the software and the price of the hardware comes down, as the performance of that hardware improves in terms of memory space, etc., processing speed, how can you either do handheld scanning at GP surgeries or ultimately scanning the worried well at home? So very much the future. We have our eye on that, but our focus now is the blue sectors, the current classroom to clinic. For those of you who want to hear about ESG, so 2022 is our second full reporting year. We extended our reporting to include full scope 3 impact analysis. So obviously our carbon footprint went up considerably because of that, but we have retained our carbon neutral status, offsetting the carbon. There's a full report coming out in our annual report, which will be out over the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks. It's had quite a big impact on our staff because we've introduced quite a lot of green travel schemes, flexible working policy. We have a lot of local engagement, STEM and local university. We announced a partnership with WFUN. So they're the World Federation of Ultrasound in Medicine and Biology, and they have a program to support ultrasound education in the underserved areas of the world. We've partnered with them at the end of last year. We're providing them with simulation trainers and training so that they can continue that program. And I think the first systems are being installed and delivered next week. So that's a really interesting partnership we're delighted to be doing. And I think also importantly for a company that's growing in this technology space, keeping hold of your staff is very important. We've done an annual staff survey since 2019. And as a result, I think of a lot of the ESG work that we've done, we've never had such a high percentage of staff happy within the company, which is great for us. Right, so that's the sort of operational summary. I'm going to hand you over to Helen Jones, who will take you through some of the financial numbers. Helen.
Thanks, Stuart. So I'll just take you through the financial highlights for 2022. At the start of the year, we set out to continue our plan to profitability, and we've delivered that, and our results are in line with our expectations. So the highlights from the year were increasing our revenue by 33% to 10.1 million, increasing our gross profit to 6.3 million, an increase of 36% year on year, and reducing our loss after tax, which has improved from 3.6 million to 3 million. We had a successful share placing at the end of the year, raising 4.8 million, which meant that we had cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year of 7.2 million. And we successfully managed to reduce our net cash burn by £1 million to 2.8 million. We kept our R&D spend broadly similar with the prior year of 3.2 million. So just focusing on the group revenue, you can see that we've almost doubled our revenue since the pandemic hit year of 2020. That growth largely coming from our simulation revenue stream, and that went up 28% in 2022. But importantly, seeing now commercial traction from our clinical early stage revenue stream, which went up 224% to 0.7 million. So just focusing on our kind of foundation core business, this is the simulation revenue stream. The revenue went up overall 28%. So I'm really pleased with that performance. And that was largely driven because our UK market had a second consecutive record year. Sales went up 96%. And that was benefited by a one-off order from a UK NHS training initiative, totaling 1.9 million, where we sold 23 Heartworks and Bodyworks systems across NHS England, due to a standardised kind of training programme that was rolled out across England. Even if we exclude those exceptional orders, however, the UK revenue would still have increased 15% year on year. So this great performance was offset by a more disappointing performance compared to our expectations in North America and in the rest of the world, where on a like-for-like basis, from a dollar point of view, the North American market reduced by 9% and the rest of the world declined by 19%. The decline in the American revenue was due to a number of CapEx funding freezes that occurred in the second half of the year, which meant that some of our orders were delayed and pushed into 2023. And then in the rest of the world, we had a disappointing performance in France and also in China, where we didn't sell any simulators as a result of the ongoing kind of COVID-19 restrictions that were still in place throughout the year. We have seen that starting to open up again now, and we're hopeful that some of those sales that we had pre-pandemic will start to return. So from a gross margin point of view, that increased 2% to 63%, driven largely by the fact that 82% of our sales have come from our direct markets in the US and the UK. Despite a cost of goods increase of 6% on average happening in 2022. So moving on to the clinical AI revenue stream, as I mentioned at the outset, starting to see commercial traction across this more early stage part of the business, generating revenues from the 3 products within the range, the ScanNav Assist, these are the GE healthcare related royalties, the ScanNav Anatomy PNB and the Needle Trainer AI hybrid. So we've started to see revenues building throughout the year, and that's continued to build in the first half of 2023. So from a gross margin point of view, the decline of 14%, that was driven by an upgrade to our Needle Trainer product. We brought out a second version, and there was a one-off cost of replacing all our demonstration units in the US and the UK and the ones held through our resellers, which did have a one-off impact of 14%. But on a like-for-like basis, that margin would have increased to 79%, excluding that one-off cost. Just focusing a bit more on the income statement. So although our gross profit increased 1.6 million, we did have higher costs in relation to sales, marketing, distribution, in relation to commissions and shipping costs, as well as that investment in our US sales team, and also with marketing costs going up with post-pandemic exhibitions, conferences, all coming back online in 2022. And those events are, really key for our lead generation and building our pipeline to enable us to achieve that growth, which we want to see in 2023 and 24, to get to achieve our 25 by 25 vision. We also saw just general increases in cost across the G&A, and also salary increases averaging 4%. From a balance sheet perspective, we strengthened our balance sheet with the share placing we did at the end of the year, raising 4.8 million. That cash at the end of the year of 7.2 million, we're still confident that that will take us to profitability at the end of next year. Other variances of the stock, we built a sufficient buffer stock to make sure we had enough capacity to supply, in anticipation of a strong Q1 in 2023. And importantly, our cash burn, that's reduced by £1 million in 2022 after 3 years of sustained net cash burn over 3.5 million. We're confident that as the revenue grows, that cash burn will reverse to a positive trend. So that's it from a finance overview. I'm going to hand back to Stuart to summarise.
Thank you, Helen. So I think in summary, look, I think we've always said, I think we're at the right place, right time with our move into AI in ultrasound. And we've now got 3 clinical AI-related products in the marketplace and growing revenues. That is combined with a strong simulation portfolio, established sales network. Our market revenue expectation for 23 is 12.5 million, with a material contribution from AI-related sales. And I think with the positive start to the year that we've had in Q1 23, we're still very happy with that. And I think with 7.2 million cash at the end of December, that target of being profitable over 2024 is absolutely achievable, as is our vision of 25 million by 2025, because we are in a very exciting and dynamic marketplace, and we are a player in it. So that's the presentation finished. I'll hand over for any questions.
Stuart, Helen, that's great. And thank you very much indeed for your presentation this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please do continue to submit your questions just by using the Q&A tab that's situated on the top right-hand corner of your screen. But just while the team take a few moments to review those questions that were submitted already, I would like to remind you that a recording of this presentation, along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A, can be accessed via your investor dashboard. Helen, Stuart, as you can see there in the Q&A tab, we have received a number of questions throughout your presentation this afternoon, and thank you to all of those on the call for taking the time to submit their questions. But guys, perhaps if I may hand back to you just to respond to those questions where it's appropriate to do so, and then I'll pick up from you at the end. Thank you.
Okay, so the first question I've got is, what is the split in headcount between the UK and US, and how do you see this moving forward? Where will more of your focus be placed? Well, I think, look, it's fair to say, obviously, our headcount is predominantly in the UK. We've got 10 people in the US. It's something like 50 in the UK, I think. 55 in the UK, and then 1 person in Beijing, in China. Clearly, I think with the sales growth, there's going to be a lot of, we are obviously hoping there'll be a lot more sales growth in America, which will result in more sales and sales support. But I still think, obviously, all the R&D build, the support side of that is still very much going to be UK based. So for the foreseeable future, it'll be growth in sales and support in America, but still the main head office is in the UK. Revenues. Okay, next question. Revenues from the rest of the world were down by 19%. Why do you think this was the case, given the significant milestones you achieved? Okay, so I think the revenue really were hit by, 3 main things from our perspective. China, China was in lockdown for considerably longer, and what thing we have to remember for our product is that we're selling simulation product over there. We have a very good Chinese reseller, Master Medtech. They cover the whole of China for us. And the issue is that if you're selling a simulator, it is very much a hands-on touch feel product. It's a major CapEx purchase that you have to experience to purchase. And if you can't go to hospital, if you can't travel, if you're not allowed to take products into hospitals to demonstrate them, you're very, very restricted in what you can sell. and our product is not an over-the-phone sell and order product. So China was down, as Helen said. It was 0 sales in 2022. We also had, we chose not to sell to our Russian reseller. That was, that's a couple of 100,000 plus of revenue as well. And then for us, France had a difficult market. So you combine all those together, you can see where the majority of the issues were. Where do we think that leaves us to 2023? Well, we've taken quite a few steps in France, working with our partner, Skills from Education there. 2 new recruits joined the company. That seems to have got off to a good start in terms of knowledge and out to market and looking at the pipeline. So we're hopeful that France will see a recovery. Clearly, we're not expecting anything on the Russian front this year, so that has been, discounted from our revenues. But we are expecting and are seeing China starting to recover, because obviously China is now opened up, and our reseller is out selling our products. So we do see that those 3 countries that had a big negative effect on 2022, 2 of them we're looking to see recover in 2023. Okay, next question. What does the pipeline of new innovations look like? So I think I'm not really allowed to talk about what isn't in the market yet. I think it's fair to say that our focus as a business is that we've spent the last 3 to 4 years getting ourselves in a position where we're not just talking about jam tomorrow products. We're talking about products now that we are selling and are going to grow, okay, in new markets. And so we're very focused on this. Is the next 2 years are big on the commercial front. It's all about growing sales of our AI products with our partner GE, ourselves into the needle guidance and the peripheral nerve block markets. And we're, that's where the focus is on. How do you then, evolve those products, listen to what the market's saying, tweak the products. It's about evolution of the development rather than doing, the R at this. It's the D rather than the R. In terms of simulation, again, it's a similar thing. We have our 4 key products, and it's about how do we evolve those. And I think it's really interesting things. We're launching the endometriosis project, module. It's launching a few weeks' time, 3rd of May. There's a big endometriosis congress up in Edinburgh, World Congress. It's a major issue in women's health. Ultrasound can help you identify endometriosis, and we think this is an important module for teaching that. We think we're taking sort of a first step into that space, and I think that's going to be really important for us. And I think I'm glad on the impact that can have. This is a big important area that more needs to be done, and I'm glad that we're doing something in that space. But otherwise, I think the rest of the product range is all about, again, the D rather than the R. It's about what other products can we bring, how can we evolve our e-learning. So it's current product and evolving them, making sure we get to this 2025 vision, 25 million sales. Now, that doesn't mean we're stopping working. Clearly, there's development going on in the background, which is why we talked about, we look in the long term to see areas, diagnostic products that we call ScanNav Detect, but to bring out software that relates to that. So clearly, we'd want to continue doing proof of concept work in areas like that. And we're obviously working with our partners on different variants of products that are relevant to the markets we're in. So I still think we're inventing stuff, but we're absolutely focused on this is all about profitability and growing sales of current products. The second part of the question was, are you seeing any new entrants into your space? I think, yes, we are. I mean, I think there's 2 areas here. I mean, from a simulation perspective, we're in a more mature market. So there are lots of competitors in the space that we have. But, we're seen as being one of the leading high fidelity, ultra realistic simulators manufacturers. And certainly that's reflected in the products we sell and where we sell them. I think the really interesting one is on the AI space. This is a new space. It's a big potential market. So everyone's working in this space. The manufacturers are working in there. There's independent software vendors all over the world, especially California, Israel, Singapore, etc. And we're working against those companies. We're running hard, bringing new products to marketplace. And in our space, we are seeing people coming in, but you know, the important thing here is about having regulatory approved. It's all very well bringing a product out, but it's about, are you regulatory approved and can sell in the marketplace? And that's why we're, you know, excited by both our obstetrics product and our anesthesiology product, because they're in the market, they're regulatory approved, and they're out being sold. I think that's it for questions.
Stuart, Helen, absolutely, and thank you very much indeed for being so generous with your time there and addressing those questions that came in from investors this afternoon. And of course, if there are any further questions that do come through, we'll make these available to you immediately after the presentation has ended, just for you to review and to add any additional responses where it's appropriate to do so. And of course, we'll publish those out on the Investor Meet Company platform. But Stuart, just before perhaps redirecting those on the call to provide you with their feedback, which I know is particularly important to yourself and the company, if I could please just ask you for a few closing comments to wrap up with, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I mean, so yeah, well, one, thanks for everyone's time. As I think I said at the end, you know, this is a space that we think has got room for considerable growth. I'm excited that a company based in Cardiff, Wales, that has gone into this new sector of AI in medical imaging and is really sort of starting to bring world firsts to the marketplace in ultrasound, is leading the way in a UK charge in this space. And I'm excited about the fact that it's now all about selling it. It's about growing revenues. It's not just jam tomorrow, it's delivering jam today. And that's certainly what we're aiming to try and do. You know, nothing's a slam dunk in this market, but we've built a team to do it. We've got a great product range, and we've had a good start to the year, and it's just, let's keep it going. And look forward to talking to you at the interims and sometime next year.
Stuart, that's great. Thank you very much for that. And Helen as well, thank you once again for updating investors this afternoon. Could I please ask investors not to close this session, as you'll now be automatically redirected for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the management team can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete, but I'm sure will be greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the management team of Intelligent Ultrasound Group PLC, we would like to thank you for attending today's presentation. That now concludes today's session, so good afternoon to you all.